It's a question to the Minister, and my daughter is 30, she's cerebral palsy, quadriplegic, tube-fed, non-verbal and still in nappies, so that'll give you a bit of a picture. She understands most things, she wants to go into accommodation. Being 30 doesn't fit the criteria. I'm 65, I fit the criteria. By the time she fits the criteria, I'll be 75. Won't work. High-profile people die at 34. So my question to you is, how are you going to help me and a whole stack of other people that are here today and out there in the community, how are you going to help us now?
Good question, Frank, and thanks for your advocacy. And you've hit the nail on the head. That is the criticism of what we have done because we're not helping everyone. First of all, in your daughter's case, the money that we put into, and it was alluded to by one of the other speakers earlier on, between the Prime Minister and every Premier, $244 million over 5 years to get young people out of nursing home or to keep them out would absolutely benefit your daughter. And the problem is that, again, we set targets, and those targets for the states to deliver aren't yet currently being met, but they're annual targets, not after 5 years. You also made mention of private enterprise and parents, and that is exactly the sort of people that we should be dealing with, because bureaucracies, and bureaucracies are not political, so this is not a political statement, it's a bureaucracy statement, really haven't been able to come up with the flexible things. They've either said, we'll close homes or we'll have homes. And the reality is there's no one-size-fits-all. You have people that will benefit from having someone come to them and look after them where they've always lived. You'll have circumstances where people want to be in community homes, and there'll be other scenarios. There is money, and we can do that. I will point you to young people, Young Care in Brisbane. Siobhan Connery, many of you would have seen her on 60 Minutes. Her and her husband David, they happen to be friends of mine. They actually now have over $2 million of private money, plus the Commonwealth money, helped by the state, purpose-built place for young people. Now, they are the sort of things that we can replicate and get that sort of service down here, and we can deal so. Very quickly, I don't pretend that what the Commonwealth announced with the Prime Minister and I in June is for everyone, because it's not. And it goes to that indexation question. We have taken all of that out, taken that group of people's responsibility off the state, which beats the hell out of just giving them an extra 1% in indexation. It's saying if we take that client load off you, don't just meet some of their needs but all their needs, you don't have to deal with them. You have fewer people for the same amount of money plus indexation. So I'm happy to talk to you afterwards about how we can deal directly with your circumstances, Frank.
Annette, would you like to make a comment on that area, or you're welcome to pass? And you'll need to come up to the microphone if you do.
My understanding, thanks Michael, was that Frank's daughter was actually at home, so the young people in nursing home money wouldn't in fact affect her. Sorry, this is like question time with Sorry. That's okay. Okay, well, I might have misunderstood. Can I just say, at the risk of sounding like I'm complaining, $244 million for young people in nursing home campaign, while being welcomed, was grossly inadequate. I think the young people in nursing home campaign here, Bronwyn in Victoria, has put a higher figure than that on what is required. The other point I want to make, Frank, is that the funding that I referred to before were the $962 million, and the Minister corrected me by saying it's bigger. Of course it's bigger, but the $962 million that we're going to move into the CSTDA is the respite accommodation shorthand money. And by putting it into the CSTDA and saying to the states you can have this on a dollar-for-dollar basis, it becomes $1.9 billion. And we are, of course, going to have a very proactive view as to who we deal with and how we deal with getting every bang for the buck that we can out of that for accommodation and respite services, desperately, desperately needed. The point is that it's not today that we know this has been coming. Very briefly, I remember the last CSTDA negotiation 5 years ago when much of the same was said, when we had a recalcitrant minister at the time making that negotiation process very, very difficult. And here we are 5 years later doing it again. And so I really am sad to think that with all of those years we're still going around and around in circles when we really need to get off our bums and do something drastically about it. Now, sure, there's money now, but it's coming out slowly, it's coming out still not meeting unmet need and still inadequate to what is actually required. I just hope that your daughter can in fact find something. Your daughter is replicated around this country by thousands and thousands of people, and that's my concern.